Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Damon De La Cruz and this is Dr. Robert Holmes. And we're developing a series of videos to accompany Turning Art into Science, the funeral service textbook. We'll be focusing on some of the more technical areas to help with comprehension.
And retention too. We've had the opportunity to teach out of the book for several years now and work with educators who have been using the book. We know chemistry can be a challenging subject and wanted to provide another resource for everyone. The book is broken into 4 units. Unit 1 is general chemistry, Unit 2 is organic chemistry, Unit 3 is biochemistry, and Unit 4 is embalming chemistry. Unit 1, the first unit, general chemistry, deals with measurement, general chemistry concepts like matter, atomic structure, temperature, and chemical compounds.
We'll cover our version of the periodic table. It's a periodic table we affectionately call the embalmer's periodic table.
Then the unit moves into a discussion about water and solutions. We set up a video that goes into detail about hydrogen bonding and the special role it plays in embalming and how certain chemicals will disrupt hydrogen bonding.
Chapter 6 is the last chapter in the unit. In this chapter we discuss an important post-mortem chemical change. It's about pH, and it's important to understand when selecting chemicals for the embalming procedure.
So that wraps up Unit 1. Unit 2 is all about the embalming chemicals. We start with an overview of the different chemicals we will be discussing in the following chapters. It really summarizes that a bottle of embalming fluid contains way more than just formaldehyde.
Yeah, that's a common misconception that the bottle is just formaldehyde.
It is, but chapters 8, 9, and 10 focus on different chemicals that are used for decedent care, including alcohols, aldehydes, and anticoagulants.
You know, I really like chapter 11. That's the chapter where we discuss decomposition, what it means for embalmers. Chapter 12 is pretty technical.
It is, but it's really the crux of the embalming reaction. We will walk you through how tissues of the body interact with aldehydes to promote preservation and disinfection.
That's going to be a fun video. We should actually make that our first one.
I agree. It should be the first one you should watch, really. It might be important to know why we discuss chemicals and reactions and why they are important.
I kind of like that. It's like hearing the punchline to a joke before you've actually heard the joke. Well, maybe it's not as fun, but it does help with understanding that foundational material.
So after Unit 2, Unit 3 is all about biochemistry. It's important to cover, but there isn't a lot of juicy embalming content.
So why actually would we talk about that stuff, Robert?
Well, in a nutshell, it's important to know the biochemical reactions of the body relate to embalming. For example, lipids don't react with aldehydes because they don't have any nitrogen in them. But we'll get to those details in time.
Okay, so the fourth and final unit covers embalming chemistry. The first chapter in that unit covers postmortem chemical and physical changes. Chapter 20 talks about personal protective equipment.
And then chapter 21 is all about embalming case analysis. We discuss the different postmortem conditions we talked about in previous chapters and start to connect them to embalming treatment and fluid selection.
If we're talking about fluid selection, then the natural next step is to talk about fluid dilution. That's the math. We understand that many people find this challenging, so we'll take our time as we move through that.
And that's a good idea. Then chapter 23 is the fun one. To me, it's the biochemistry section in reverse. We talk about the decomposition of the same molecules that we talked about in Unit 3.
It really is talking about the decomposition. Can you give us another example, maybe related to the lipids that you talked about earlier?
Okay, well, we started with atoms, made molecules, then in the biochemistry unit we talked about macromolecules like fats. In this chapter, we start with the fats and we decompose them into smaller molecules, then eventually atoms. It's kind of fun.
That is fun. I like decomposition. The last chapter discusses the reason for embalming.
So I feel like that was a pretty concise survey of what we'll be talking about in these videos.
I think so.
I hope you enjoyed them. Let us know what you think in the comment section.
Also, let us know if there's anything you'd like us to focus on that might help you along your funeral service education journey.
And don't forget, like, subscribe, and comment.